Tonight we're going to be talking about all the updates coming to Disney parks so that we can go through and get you excited about all those. We'll give you the latest in park news, including some crazy things that happened this week, including a squirrel visiting the Carousel of Progress. All that tonight and more on ParksCenter. Welcome to ParksCenter for Sunday night, July, what's this, the 16th? I'm your host, Rob Whiteside. Thank you guys so much for being with us. We really appreciate it. If you have not already, please subscribe to WDWNT TV on YouTube and also click the thumbs up so that people can find us. We are happy to be with you here tonight. We like to keep it like a party, so if you want to chat, we'll be watching along in the chat. If you want to super chat, I'm not going to be mad about that either. And then tonight we have our illustrious panel, including Shannon.
Hey, everybody.
Miss Kamila?
I was on mute for a second.
Hi, everyone. Happy Sunday. Happy almost birthday, Disneyland.
Right? We're going to talk about that. And Allie.
Hello.
It was really funny that tonight in the chat, somebody said $40, there's an Allison of some kind on the chats, or on the panel tonight. So, Allie, I guess that counts, right? You're technically an Allison, or is it short for something else?
Technically, I'm an Alexandra, but I'll take the $40.
No, you see, man, well, you don't get the $40. It's fine.
We can each buy a Baymax sipper. We all win.
Oh my gosh! Oh, let's talk about Baymax sippers in a minute. We're gonna have a discussion tonight. We're gonna open up with a long form discussion about all of the updates, the latest projects that Disney has going on. Because Mr. Robert Iger was in the news this week talking about how there's still an upside to the parks. Although there was some confusion about whether he said that the reason the park attendance was down was because of the humidity. I don't know about all that, but I do think that there's a lot of positive coming to the parks, especially with the $17 billion. Is it billion? I feel like that they're going to be investing in Florida, which we've talked about before. But a lot of updates came out this week about new projects that were coming up. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to have everybody be a little bit interactive tonight, and we have put together a poll because we want to know what things you are excited about coming. So if you are in the chat tonight, give us a hashtag or a pound 1 through 9 to tell us which thing you guys are excited about coming to Disney parks, and we're going to run down a bunch of them, tell you what we know about them, and then we'll talk about how excited we are. The first thing I want to talk about is something we've been talking about for a long time, and we'll continue to talk about for a long time because it's not going to open anytime soon, and that is TBA to Tiana's Bayou Adventure. I messed it up by going TBA. Tiana's Bayou Adventure is coming soon to both parks, but it's not until next year. And so we have scaffolding galore in Disneyland and in the Magic Kingdom as they are ripping down what was Splash Mountain and putting up the pieces that will be Tiana's Bayou Adventure. I want to start with you, Allie, since you are in California and you have been most recently to see Tiana's Bayou Adventure construction. I may have asked this before. At what point does it stop being Splash Mountain and now it's already Tiana's Bayou Adventure, in your opinion?
Yeah, I'm not sure because every time I drop it in the channel, I always put Splash/Tiana construction updates. So I don't, all the Baymax. So I don't know at what point we actually accept that it is now Tiana. I am excited for this ride to open. It is so sad back there. It is quiet, it is hot, and I want a water ride at Disneyland. So I'm super excited for it to open, and I hope it is amazing. But yeah, I don't know when we start calling it Tiana.
Well, I mean, it looks much more like Tiana's Bayou Adventure in Florida. Shannon, I don't know the last time maybe that you went out that way, but now there's a big old water tower with a crown on it, and nothing says Tiana more than a water tower with a crown on it. So do you feel like, I feel like we're going to see it first in Florida, or do you think they're going to slow down construction?
No, I think we'll see it in Florida. I was just there last week. I saw the water tower. It's definitely going to be something to get used to. You know what the biggest bummer to me is? That they took out that tree at the bottom after you splash down and you go in that little loop. So losing that shade there is kind of a stinker. But you know what I'm most looking forward to is the Briar Patch, that amazing little themed gift shop. I want to see them go over the top with it. Like the ride, take it or leave it. But make that gift shop great.
I'm sorry, did you say the ride, take it or leave it? We're talking about an e-ticket attraction. Come on.
Yeah, I'm still processing that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
no. Although I do agree with you, like the Briar Patch is a great place to maybe do something. Like they're gonna have to retheme it pretty
Yeah.
hard, but like maybe it's a beignet shop, or maybe it's something that we're missing
Yeah.
in the Florida version, because in the California version, it's set up right there in on the edge of New Orleans Square. It's really critter country, but it's on the edge of New Orleans Square. You can kind of fake the idea that it's in New Orleans, and plus Tiana's Palace restaurant is coming there soon. So Tiana's Palace and Tiana's Bayou Adventure, I'm kind of looping together here because one of them is the restaurant, and one of them, and it's also not coming to Florida, it's just coming to California. But I'm going to ask now, because you're nodding your head furiously over there, Kamila, are you excited about this one? Is this like top of your list?
I mean, a water ride will probably never be top of my list, to be honest.
Boats. I forgot about boats.
I'm keeping it consistent. And like the previous Splash, I barely rode. I'll go on this at least once. I will say, I think for me, it'll become real when we get the music. Because I think for a lot of people, that will kind of determine ultimately like what their experience is like. And for a lot of people, they love the music on the last ride, and that helped give you the feel of it. So I think for me, that's when it will really start to come along and feel like, okay, now this has made the transformation away from Splash Mountain. But yeah, I'm definitely interested to see what they do with Tiana's Palace, and I'm probably, if I'm honest, more excited about that, or more interested, just because I don't love a water ride. Ever.
I am so sorry. When we went into that, I totally forgot about your hatred of all things boats
and water.
I mean, we might as well just cancel this project for Kamila. You're like, okay, you shut down Splash Mountain, put something less watery in there. Okay, I get it. Hey, we have a super chat, and also apparently can't have a super chat and also our poll. So let me go ahead and pull the poll down temporarily and say thank you to, I'm gonna butcher this. Is it Terra Camino? Thanks all. Love the show. Smash like or bad luck for 10 years. That's true. I didn't know that everybody knew that, but that is true. So thank you so much for the super chat. We appreciate you. Let's go back to this thing over here, because it looks like Tiana's Bayou Adventure is winning all over the place. And it's we're losing a huge like people eater in both parks by this thing not existing. Not just a people eater, but a Genie Plus eater, because that's things that people were going to cash in their Genie Plus on. Obviously not Kamila, but I loved Splash Mountain, so I mean, I'm looking forward to this one. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, but also like a way to cool down. I mean, I can't imagine, I'm not used to humidity, even though I'm in Arizona. So I'm used to heat, but not humidity. And like not having an option to cool off if you are someone who can go in the summertime. I don't know. So yeah, I'm sure Disney is eager to get both these rides back up just for that purpose, if nothing else.
Isn't the whole theme of Phoenix, but it's a dry heat? Isn't that?
That's
don't
right.
you guys?
It really
Isn't that in your
is. It
license
really
plates
is
or something?
different.
Okay. It hits different. Got it. So let's talk about the next thing on the list, that is the Adventureland Treehouse. I was talking to my daughter about this today, and she was like, "Do I care about this?" And I'm like, well, I mean, and so my father-in-law used to love the original Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse in Magic Kingdom, which still exists. The one out in California became Tarzan's Treehouse, which I loved that they were different. I love that, and I'm more attached to the Tarzan IP, so I loved all the little things that were in there, the throws to Mrs. Potts and Chip down in the camp. There was a lot of stuff about that I thought was really cool. Obviously, it was a big choke area, alley, when you would walk through there, because you would load in the tree in the very middle of the pathway. Now they're moving it over to the side, and the bougie plane that Shannon just missed getting on, that was $115,000, that was going to take you per seat, that was going to take you to all the Disney parks. Apparently, they told them this week a little bit more about this treehouse. And Allie, you feel like this is going to open pretty soon, right?
It seems like it should, but every time I walk past, it's like nothing has really changed. Like the scrim is still up. You can still see some of it. They have these light posts out and these lamps that you can now see from the Pirates queue. Like it feels like it wants to open, but then it also feels like it doesn't want to open. So I have no idea, and they really haven't said much about when this is going to open. So
Well, and I feel like
Yeah.
I feel like it's basically a throwback to the Swiss Family Robinson treehouse, but they're calling it the Adventureland treehouse, inspired by the Swiss Family Robinson, right? Something along those lines.
Yeah.
Um, uh, Shannon, how much does the Swiss Family Robinson IP mean to you personally?
I've never seen the movie or movies. I don't even know if there are multiple movies, but I can't say that I want this attraction to go away because we need as many people eaters as we can get, especially in Disneyland. I like the sea tie-in, so the rest of it. Reading about what this is going to be was a bit confusing to me, but knowing that there's going to be some kind of sea tie-in, I hope they make that a little stronger than just a hint here and there. Rob?
Muted.
Stop it. Again, the people eaters, we started on time. Let's just start with that. The people eaters are kind of the key to all of this, right? That we want to make sure that there's enough for everybody to do. That didn't happen during COVID. There was that period of time when COVID first happened where you could walk into anything in the parks because people were still a little bit of afraid. Then when that whole revenge travel thing started happening and the parks started filling up again, there was so much that was still closed because entertainment hadn't come back, different attractions hadn't been reopened. And so you could really feel that choke in the park where you're like, the line to get onto Splash Mountain is all the way back at the Haunted Mansion, and it just was ridiculous. So I'm feeling like we're getting back to that. There's still some things, surprisingly, that haven't reopened yet. But yeah, I think it comes back to being about the people eaters. I'm going to move on to the next one and give Kamila first shot to talk about this one because I'm excited that we actually are seeing cast member previews of Moana Journey of Water beginning this month. So, this is an attraction that I think, honestly, kind of like the Treehouse, a lot of people are going to be disappointed in. Honestly, I really feel like that's the thing is that I've seen people walking by this attraction as recently as last week. I saw people walking by this attraction going, that's going to be the new Moana ride. Kamila, this is not a ride. This is just going to be a walkthrough. Do you think people are going to be okay with that?
I, like you, am very interested to find out. What's interesting is when I talk to families who have never been to Disney and who are really just kind of at the early stages of planning a trip, the two things I get asked the most about are where is the Frozen ride? Where is the Moana ride? And there's just an assumption that both of these things exist. And so, on the one hand, at least now there is technically going to be a Moana attraction. And guess what? It's in the same park that has an Epcot or that has a Frozen attraction. And guess what? Hopefully this helps these families be encouraged to go to Epcot because it really has struggled with that. But I agree. Maybe it'll be really cool walking through. But I think it's, for me at least, it's just hard to still understand exactly what it's going to be. How immersive is it going to feel? It kind of feels like it's going to be almost like a really cool queue. And so then there's just a question of logistically, how does that work? Are people interested in it? I genuinely don't know. So I'm hoping for the best. It'll be, I think exciting to have a Moana something, but yeah, I think people are expecting a ride and it'll be interesting to see, what the reaction is.
That is so funny. That is so funny. You're like it's going to be like a interactive queue. So somebody goes all the way through the queue and then gets to the end and is like, what? Where's the ride? Well, there it is. It's called Connections Cafe. Go in and get some Starbucks. Right? That's so funny to think about it that way, that it would be like a queue, but it kind of is. But it reminds me, Allie, of, and I think we talked about this before, of the Redwood Creek in DCA, and I've always wanted there to be something like that in Florida. And that's a place where you can go and you can walk around and kind of be in a different place. But this doesn't seem like it's going to take up that much space as that does. But I mean, I don't see it as much different than that. Do you?
No, it seems like it's going to be very similar. Just seems a little weird to me for it to be in the front of Epcot. This gives me more Animal Kingdom vibes. But I think a lot of people are going to walk through and be super disappointed that it's just walking through and staring at rocks and some green stuff.
And you know what also makes me a little nervous about this is, and Shannon, I'm sure you've done this, is you walk by like the 50th statues and you use your Magic Band Plus and you
Yes,
do this and you do
Yeah.
this and nothing
and it
happens. Do
doesn't
you feel
work.
you get that feeling about them like waving their hands to the water?
Yeah, so this I can't even wrap my head around how this even came to be. It's going to be a disaster, but I keep thinking it's got to be really immersive and really interactive. But who's going to maintain that? I was on Rise last week, and I mean, it's half the attraction that it was on opening day. Nothing works anymore that was really amazing that blew your mind. So, with just thinking about that, I can't imagine that this is going to last very long, even if there is something cool about it, which I don't think there will be.
Well, and let's not be I'm not beating up any of these things that you see down the side here because I want more. That's the thing that I want with Disney. They're charging me more. I want to go more. I want more new things. So I'm excited about all these things. But Dawn's calling me out in chat saying that I've somehow rigged Moana Journey of Water to not be the one. But we're only asking you to vote for one, and you'll only get one vote. So, I think for most people, this isn't the most important thing for them. It's going to be nice to not have all of the walls in Walcott. It's going to be nice to be able to walk through the center area. It's going to be nice for it just to be done, and there to be one other thing. But I mean, more than a Tiana's Bayou Adventure ride or any of these other things, I don't know. Kamila, you look like you wanted to say something else about that.
Well, the one thought I have, and this is also the same thought I have about the treehouse, which is we can't discount how families with little kids will be able to experience and take in things like both the new Adventureland treehouse and also Moana Journey of Water. I think the treehouse in particular, it's kind of a place where you can let the kids run around a little bit. They can explore, they can touch things, they can really take in their environment. And I think Moana Journey of Water will be something similar. And especially for families with little kids that maybe even just can't go on some of the other rides, certainly not a Tiana's Bayou Adventure in some cases, that might be something that is really special for them. And so I don't want to discount that aspect of it also.
Yeah. And Rosita is frantically hitting 9 in here to say that none of the above. I mean, and there are a lot of people who are saying none of the above to this. And so, but 14% said something else. So if you're in chat, please tell me what the something else is, if there's something else that we missed. It's not the Polynesian expansion, I'm sure. So I'm wondering what the project is that you're most excited about. So definitely let us know in the chat. But again, it makes sense to me that the Hatbox Ghost is up there. Let's talk about the Hatbox Ghost a little bit because this already exists somewhere else, right? This is already a thing that has been a staple of the Haunted Mansion in California, and they made the big announcement. Damaro made the big announcement. Oh, beautiful, Josh, at the D23 Expo, and the crowd went nuts about it. Like, we're getting this, and my son was like, I don't really care. It feels like a California thing, and I like to see it in California. I don't necessarily need to see it in Florida, but let me go to you on this, Kamila. Like, do you think this is a big deal? And let me preface it by saying, anytime you add one new bolt to an attraction, I'm going to go on it again. So, when they added the Coco scene to, PhilharMagic, I had to go see it immediately. So, I mean, I don't know how you feel about them adding it to the East Coast.
Yeah, I mean, I say this as a Haunted Mansion fan, like it's absolutely a ride I have to do. I will reschedule trips if the ride is down for refurbishment. Like it's really, truly one of my favorites. But yeah, for me personally, it's not a big deal. Now, to be fair, I go to both Disneyland and Disney World quite often, so I don't feel like I'm ever missing it because I only go to one. But interesting is really kind of the response that I have to this, but I don't feel like I needed it.
Yeah. And Desi's desperately saying people are voting for Moana because I think she's not financially invested in it. I don't know why. I know it's her favorite thing to dress up as. It's fine. But when it comes down to the things that like I'm excited about happening, like, this is just another thing that I can see on the West Coast. So I'm not over the top excited about it, but but I mean, it'll be nice to add it. But I also don't know if there's like where the space is. I assume it'll be in the same spot right as you exit the attic. And it looks like they're going to have to force some stuff in there, so it's going to be closed for a little while. And I think our assumption was this would be open before Halloween. And Kamila, you looked like you wanted to say something else about that.
Oh, I mean, one of the things that stands out to me really as you look at this entire list, the only thing that's truly coming that's new that didn't exist in some format before is the Moana Journey of Water. And so I do feel like part of what probably makes, these upcoming projects feel a little bit maybe underwhelming is we're just kind of getting refreshes on something that existed before. And I think especially when you look at everything that's happening at Universal, like people are, they want something that's new, not something that's, a refresh of what already exists.
Yeah. I agree that, I mean, yeah, we definitely want that. Although not everybody goes to both. I got to remind myself, not everybody goes to both Disneyland and Disney World, but I do like them to keep them separate so that there's a reason to go to both, because if they both have Batu and they both have, if they put a Moana Journey of Water or something else out west, it's like, then why is Allie coming other than Run Disney, which we'll talk about in a minute. But I do want to switch gears and talk about something, Allie, that is, I know, near and dear to your heart, which is the overlay on Pacific Wharf to become San Francisco. We have an official opening date. Hero told me himself, August 31st. This is coming, and you are ready to talk about it. Go.
So ready to talk about it. Wednesday, we already get some new food and drinks coming, and then the following Wednesday, we have more food and drinks. Readers will officially switch over to, can't remember what they're calling it, I don't remember the names of it, but super, super excited. I do think that area needed to be a little bit refreshed. I think it's a good fit for, the LA kind of culture and everything going on here. I'm happy that my boy will be there, and apparently he will talk. I am so excited because the one at Epcot didn't talk, so super excited for that. Hero will be there as well. I don't really care much about Hero. I'm just here to hug Baymax.
Wow.
But
okay.
yeah, he gets a shop. He's going to have all the things, the sipper. I'm so happy he's getting the love. Yay.
On the video that we got to see of it for the introduction of when it's opening, he was blinking his eyes. Did the one at Epcot do that too?
Yeah.
Okay. That's pretty awesome. And of course, the most important thing.
Yes. I will need 12.
Because one is for me, right?
I reached out to Allie immediately. I was like, can you please? And she's like, oh, I'll have like 20 by the end of the day. So, yeah. I think that looks amazing for the sipper, but I feel like this is a reskin of another sipper that came. I think
it's a reskin of the 2014 one, and then they added the red on the bottom. But I'll take what I can get. It's fine.
Well, it's going to look fantastic in a bag on your floor when you buy one for me. So hit me up. I got you. But San Francisco is one of those things that I think when they announced it at D23, they were like, okay, why are we doing this? They're not taking away the restaurants. They're retheming a little bit and putting in the Baymax meet and greet. But I do think it makes it look cool and exciting. And Kamila, to the point you were talking about people saying, where's Moana and where's Frozen? Do you think people are going to go, where can I see Baymax and kind of experience the Big Hero 6, or not really?
I would not be surprised, particularly in California, if people expected to be able to see him somewhere. And so I think exactly to Allie's point, culturally, it makes a lot of sense to do this retheme. And I truly loved the Pacific Wharf area that existed before. But I also always felt like if you, wanted to see that, you could just go to Seattle, you could just go to Portland, and they had that exact thing. So I think it makes sense that Disney, would kind of remix this or refresh this. And also I'm excited for what this will look like at night, because I think at night, that area is always busy during the day, but at night it does get dark over there. And so I can just imagine like I think maybe the luminaries, or I don't know what they're called, but I think it's going to be just lit up and really pretty. And so I'm excited. And I do think people will enjoy this.
It looks good.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those things though that like Cars Land, I was like, why would you make a Cars Land? And then I go into it, I'm like, yes, thank you for making Cars Land. So I think it's going to be another one of those things. But Allie, at some point, do they need to change the name to from Disney's California Adventure to just Disney's
Oh yeah.
Adventure?
Yeah, we're way out of the lines. We've left California. We're just doing the things now.
Paradise Pier is Pixar Pier. The Pacific Wharf is now San Francisco, which exists nowhere but in your heart. And then Cars Land, maybe, I don't know, but it feels like
But
that
the
was on Route 66.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Arizona vibes to me.
Uh,
I mean, the Grizzly area, that one's still pretty California-y.
yeah, yeah, that's
Hollywood
true.
Land
And
needs to go, but
what needs to go?
Hollywood Land, Hollywood
Oh,
area, that whole area needs to go.
yeah, but of course the Marvel campus the Avengers campus has been set in that area too. Let's go back over to Epcot and the Communicore Hall, Communicore Plaza and Communicore Hall, which is coming soon. Which is originally was going to be when they announced it at D23 2019 was supposed to be one of these. It was supposed to be a festival center, and it was going to be multi-level, and they had like TV production and all kinds of weird, cool things that were going to be happening in it. And then after COVID hit, they were like, "Let's make it smaller." Because we've already demolished this area. We've blown it up. We need to do something else. We can't do like we did at the Reflections Resort and just throw grass over and call it a day. We need to do something because it's going to be in the middle here. What are we going to do? And so they made Communicore Hall, which is so funny because basically the shape they're making is what was already there before they destroyed it. Communicore, for those of you who are not as ancient as I am, was the name of the buildings that then became Innoventions. So Communicore was the name of the building back in the day. I guess for the Epcot fanboys, they're going back to the drawing board on this. But I think this area looks cool. But again, Shannon, for me, I don't know if this is the same way for you. I'm just ready for them to have these walls down and let us go through and experience this area. Or is that what you're thinking? Or do you have more excitement about Communicore Hall?
No. You know what we need? Not only those walls down, but some air conditioning cut through. I miss having those cut throughs. Although I gotta say, I don't know if this is a conspiracy theory and we're going to go off the rails here, but the AC has been considerably less in Disney these days. So I don't know if I'm overshooting my expectations here.
You need to put your tinfoil hat back on, please. Just make sure that that's nice
I've
and
heard
secure.
people say that though.
It's true. I was sweating in Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway queue.
You were probably just nervous. So here's the this is the outside of this thing, and I think I'm excited for it because I'm excited to see them be able to do more things for festivals, and I enjoyed the original Communicore / Innoventions where you could go in and like you said, get some air conditioning, kill some time, hang out for a little while, try some new things. They always rotated the exhibits that were in there until they didn't, and then all of a sudden like here's the empty place that used to have Segway races, and here's the empty place that used to have the where's the fire, and it sort of became just an empty shell that where you could, no offense Allie, just meet Baymax. That was all that was left. But I used to love those breezeways, and you'd go through and they had that thing that was like, it was called the Balzac, and they would bounce one to you, and you would, yeah. and then it's like, okay, that was a neat thing, but now it's just been just a dirt pile for too long. So I'm excited to see them finally open that back up. This is one I included, and I don't know what people's level of excitement is. No, I do. It's very small because there it is on the voting. Maybe? No. Yeah, the Mirabelle meet and greet. So it has like 3% people who are excited about that. But as we reported last week, the Merida meet and greet down at the base of Fantasyland is closed, and they're going to re-outfit it for Mirabelle. And I don't know. Again, this Kamala, this comes back to what you were talking about where can I go meet X. Encanto is such a huge juggernaut of a movie. Like the idea that there's not more to do with Encanto in the park seems like a problem or a miss. Do you think this is going to be enough for now until that dream happens on the other side of Big Thunder, or no, too little?
I don't know. I for me personally, I, I don't know. I don't know about this one. I'm really speechless. I just, I go so much by like what I hear parents ask me about. Where can I find this? Where can I find this? And I just have never heard someone ask me about an Encanto meet and greet. But I would guess that, once people see her there and know that that's something they can do, I mean, I would guess, yeah, like, people will be excited about it. And it's like anything. There's so many characters you can meet. Everyone will have who they want to go see. And, I always feel like the craziest lines were for like Aurora or Belle. And so, it would be interesting. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that I get the Encanto phenomenon, to be honest.
I feel like those might be fighting words. I'm not really sure.
No hate to it. It wasn't my thing.
No, I get it. You just hate anybody who loves Encanto. That's fine. That's fine
No,
for you to say that.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm happy for anyone who loves it. This will be exciting for a lot of people. I'm not a meet and greet person either, though.
Shannon, disagree?
I'm not a meet and greet person either, so I'm not the right person to ask.
Tonight we've assembled the most uninterested people in meet and greets as possible. Now, Allie, you do meet and greets, right? All right, let's move on.
I have to.
There was something that only if you have to for work, right? The thing that I mentioned about Balzac that like apparently just dropped, and then the chat was like, "What did he just say?" Like there was this giant like official balloon ball thing that they had, and it was not quite this as big as this one, but it would be one of these things where they had them at Springs or what was then downtown Disney. They had them in the breezeways at Epcot. When you walk through the innovations areas, there was always somebody there, and just as a selling tactic, the cast member would bounce it over to a little kid who would just have the most fun with it and bounce it back, and then of course the parents like, come on Billy, let's go, you're not buying one of those. So I don't know if they ever sold them or not. I'm sure Tom Corliss has all of them, but they came in different patterns, and sometimes they had Disney characters on them, and it was just really one of those things, kind of like when you go to the mall and there's a kiosk for somebody doing, they're throwing up some kind of like a propeller thing, and it's like, Mommy, can I have that? It was one of those things, and it was a really weird thing to be in Disney, but it's very memorable to me because they were always there. They had one at Animal Kingdom over in that spot near where the seating is for Flame Tree. There was one randomly over there, so must have been something of a moneymaker for them, or they wouldn't have done that. But that's clearly not what we're here to talk about today. So
where did that conversation come from? Is the ball coming somewhere?
No. I was talking about the Communicore and like the breezeways that they had there, because there was one set up on the east and the west side. The Balzac thing was in between. So, I mean, there's space to do it now between Connections and Creations. They should do it. They should do it. If they're doing all this stuff for the fanboys, they should bring that stuff back, right?
It was kinetic energy. The ball that was hovering over the fan, like it brought that hallway to life.
They better bring a lot of stuff when they finish that area of, as far as kinetic energy, as you say.
And can I just say, like, in my defense of this whole list, I probably am the most interested in the Communicore. So, like, when it comes to, like, what's exciting, I mean, I just am not the person to, like, I'm not a good gauge of that. So, like, again, going back to the Mirabelle, I'm sure I am, like, everyone will be excited about that, but I'm just, like, the loser that's like, oh, Innoventions is coming back. Like, I'm that person.
No, honestly, there's different people have different excitement for different reasons. Like, I'm looking forward to whatever they do with the treehouse. I think most of you are not. I just think that I would love for there to be something new. It's a lot of stairs, isn't it, Shannon? It's a lot of steps.
Yeah, too many stairs. I need a private jet.
I figured that was the case. Or at least a massage once you get back down the other side of it, right?
You know it.
Got you. Let's talk about something that I think has been very quiet for a while, but should be coming before the end of the year, which is that new Epcot show Right now, there's a crane in the middle of the lagoon trying not to be a barrier to your vision of the American Adventure when you walk in. When people talk about the Star Cruiser and what's going to happen next with it, and Josh did say, as we talked about, well, we were supposed to talk about last week, he said that it was, something will happen. Well, a wrecking ball is something. So something will happen is very vague. But everybody be like, oh, they spent too much money on the Star Cruiser, they'll never knock it down. And I'm like, the amount of money they spent on those barges for Harmonious, and just to take them back in backstage and just dismantle them is crazy to me. And so whatever comes next, I feel like has to be next level. So right now you can see Epcot Forever, which some people are like, I prefer Epcot Forever and no barriers visually to to Harmonious. And Harmonious I thought was pretty cool. When we learned about illuminations, one of the animators was talking, the Imagineers was talking about, was like the rule of thumb. If you can put your thumb up and not see whatever the big, the weenie is in the middle of the water, then there's a problem. You need to be able to see it. It needs to be big enough. And those barges were absolutely big enough. But I mean, Kamila, you and I, again, were on the, team barges for a while, because it's like, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. And then we both were like, didn't quite still work out. So, I mean, any
really
thoughts about
big
what
in
they would do
person.
here? Yeah.
I'm interested to see what they will do next. And I feel like we haven't really gotten any information or any hints yet, but it's interesting because Epcot Forever, like I still see people who are interested in like the fireworks dessert packages for that show. And I keep trying to explain, like, I don't think it's worth it, but people keep doing it. So, I don't know. I think there's some people where just, any show will be interesting, but it's Epcot. I feel like Epcot, if nothing else, should have a really fantastic show. And dare I say, maybe even one that is better than what you might see at the Magic Kingdom. Although, of course, I love Happily Ever After. But I hope they do it justice. I hope they do it justice, whatever it is.
Yeah. Here's a thing, Allie, that I just still don't get is, why aren't there more shows like World of Color?
Expensive? Money?
I mean, those barges weren't cheap.
That'd be great at Epcot. That'd be amazing at Epcot.
Yeah. So, I mean, it really is one of those things where I was just like, I would love to see it at Animal Kingdom. I've said that before.
Yeah.
Either drones or water show seems like it would be a good fit there. And to have a nighttime show, as much as when they opened up Avatar, they said, this park's open at night now. We should do this now. It seems like it was something that really should have happened there. And so I'm interested to see, are there going to be drones at Epcot? Are there going to be any screens or anything, or are they going to roll something out the way they used to with Illuminations? We'll have to wait and see what happens there. The only other thing that I was going to kind of mention on these projects that are coming up is there's a new restaurant, really, like, I guess, which looks like a retheme restaurant, coming to the Japan, to the pavilion, to replace what was Tokyo Dining. And because I'm not really sure, I think it's like, is it Shiki Sei? Or am I completely messing that up? But I assume it's going to be just a leaning in more sushi than before. But I mean, Kamila, did you ever go to Tokyo Dining? Was there anything wrong with that one?
I have liked all of the dining I've ever done in the Japan pavilion. But it's just fascinating to me how often they keep having to change it. I feel like this is like, just since I've been paying attention, like the fifth or sixth new thing they've brought to that pavilion, nothing seems to be able to stick. And I don't know if it's because it's expensive. I mean, sushi inherently is, not a cheap meal. It's not necessarily maybe family or especially young kid friendly. So I don't know. It just seems like they haven't been able to quite figure out what to do dining wise there. I mean, I think the hibachi option is still there, and that makes a lot of sense, but it's interesting. I will say, just not to like move on from this topic, but the San Francisco menu, or the dining options that they show there, I am kind of impressed with some of the options that are going to be available, like the Berea ramen. That feels like something that like you just started seeing in food trucks a few years ago, and the fact that Disney like already is like, oh yeah, we have that too, it's kind of fascinating to me. And I've had their Berea tacos, and I'm not saying they're the most authentic thing in the world, but for Disney, that's pretty good. So I'm loving the fusion options.
Okay.
It's very California.
Very
Yeah, I don't know.
California.
Burrito is
Japan
great.
Pavilion is a mess.
Granted. What were you saying, Allie?
That bulgogi burrito that they had, it's not new. I had that the other day, but yeah, like that's some of the fusion that they've had there, and it's great. And look at Baymax, he's so cute.
Yes. All right. So, I mean, I feel like we've covered most of the stuff that was here. And, again, it felt like this week, we have from Universal, they're talking about Villain Con, which we'll talk about, next time we get Annie on. But I really feel like there's a lot of stuff finally ramping up. But let me ask you guys this question. Of all the stuff that we've seen that's happening, and I want to kind of let each of you say what the thing is you're most excited about, which, I think we've kind of all leaned into what we think it is. And again, thank you to everybody who voted. I really appreciate it. I love getting the feedback from everybody and seeing what you guys are up to and what you're thinking. But I want you to answer with that. And then what is it that we think is next? Because they've really been quiet. Everything that they talked about at D23 with Josh tomorrow has either happened or is going to be small, or is one of these pie in the sky things that they were like, what if, and they haven't given us timelines or real look at any of it. So what do you think is going to be next? I'll start with Kamila and work our way back around.
I mean, I definitely feel like Disney is going to be under pressure to really deliver something new. I mean, Universal is just pumping out everything from an entirely new theme park. Hollywood just announced a new ride. They just opened up a new ride over at Universal Orlando with the Villain Con. They're talking about, doing interesting things in Las Vegas. Like, I just feel like Disney is definitely under pressure to respond. But at the same time, I think Disney will do things their way. And I feel like, if anything, I wouldn't be surprised if, I don't know, instead of like teasing all of these things and then, pulling things back, I mean, maybe they really finalize plans and then drop them. But I definitely feel like they're under pressure to figure out what their response is. And I would be surprised if it truly was nothing. But at the same time, I think people will continue to go to both regardless. It's just, how much time do you spend at Disney versus Universal?
Gotcha. Okay. Allie?
I think we all know I'm super excited for Baymax. Also excited for Tiana. I just want a big water ride back, and I hope it's great. As far as what's next, I'm hoping it's something with Animal Kingdom. I just feel like that park, when I was there in January, just felt really incomplete to me for some reason. Like, just Dino Land is sad right now. They need to do they have all that land over there. They just need to do something with all of that. There's a ton they can do. I know they've teased some things, so hopefully they clean up Animal Kingdom next.
Gotcha. And Shannon?
So when we started out this conversation, I voted none of the above. I can't say that this conversation changed my opinion, but if I were to pick one thing, it would be Dreamer's Point. So it's something I'm looking forward to. But in terms of what Disney has to do, I'm kind of on board with Kamila, where it's like they need the plans first and then announce it at this point, because we've gotten empty promises after empty promises, and now they've, last year set us all up with these huge ideas. And give me my Poppins attraction.
Yeah, I was actually going to say, I mean, people talked about it in the chat. The Play Pavilion was one of those things they came hard about and then just disappeared. Same thing with the Mary Poppins attraction. That went away. We thought that when D23 came around, they were going to talk about a whole new Disneyland, Tomorrowland, that never was mentioned. We thought they were going to bring back the People Mover and, doing a Lightyear overlay, which clearly isn't going to happen now on Space Mountain, and a couple other things that they were planning on doing, including Kamila demolishing what is, the Star Wars Launch Bay building, which now is a DVC lounge. So it has some value to them again. So that may have been a stay of execution for that, but Josh talked about their
Bay.
free launch bay, hashtag free launch bay. They talked about Josh talked about what's on the other side of Big Thunder Mountain, and again, that was pie in the sky. There's no plans for that we know of to happen anytime soon. The other idea was what happens if we fix or replace Dinoland at Animal Kingdom Alley. To your point about, is it time to do that and really kind of put in Moana or put in Zootopia? But at that point. You've already put Moana in Epcot too. It seems like they should have a plan about all this. It almost feels like there should be a Pixar park and a Star Wars park, and then everything Moana goes here and everything. Like, it seems like it's so haphazard with all this stuff that I would love a plan. But maybe it's better. Maybe it's better that you can your kid gets excited about Moana at Epcot, but then the next day gets to go to Animal Kingdom and see Moana again. I don't know. But it's one of those things where I feel like we're kind of run out. Tron's opened. Guardians of the Galaxy's opened, Ratatouille opened, all these things that we were promised a while ago that were canceled are gone. The things that were the big e-tickets are here already. So it's like, what is really next that's going to get people to shell out all this money to go to Disney? And then again, we're less than 2 years away from Epic Universe opening up, and I think a lot of people are excited about that. So definitely appreciate everybody voting tonight. Thank you for doing that. I do think Tiana's Bayou Adventure is the biggest e-ticket of all of these things, so I'm not surprised that it would have been at the highest level of everything. But thank you guys for voting. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We're going to come back and talk rapid fire about some parks news. So please don't go away. We will be right back.
Now on WWNT TV, it's Boxed In. Boxed In is a casually chaotic show featuring WWNT personalities Eric Morton and Jill Diffendahl, unboxing Disney merchandise and viewer packages, along with a few friends and a bossy little Pomeranian. So smash that like button, subscribe and comment, and keep up with the new Disney merchandise releases, seasonal releases, festival merchandise, limited edition merchandise, wishables, pins, and more. Join us Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern on WWNT TV.
Welcome to Deep in the Plus. Each week, join host Rob Whiteside as he and a panel of Disney superfans take a different movie or TV show from the Disney Plus catalog. They'll tell you its history, details, and give their review, so you'll know if it's worth your time. Current shows, classic movies, and everything in between. Watch Deep in the Plus live Wednesday nights at 9 Eastern for new episodes, or catch Deep in the Plus anytime on YouTube on WDWNT TV.
Welcome back to ParksCenter. Thank you guys so much for being with us. We really appreciate you. If you have not already, please give us a thumbs up as it helps people to find us. Also, you saw a commercial for Deep in the Plus last week. Allison and I were on here talking about Anastasia, which was a long time coming, so maybe check that out. And also this coming week, our friend Katie's coming back to talk to us about some of the new shorts that were just re-released to Disney Plus. So join us Wednesday night at 9 p.m. for that one. This week, we are talking about some parks news on ParksCenter. We're going to first talk about Spaceship Earth. When we were talking about all those big projects, right? The ones that we knew were supposed to be coming. One of them was going to be like a 1 to 2 year like restoration of Spaceship Earth, and it sounded like they were going to getting a big ice cream scoop and just gutting the whole thing out, and then like starting over with new track and all kinds of things that were going to be in there. And then right as COVID happened, I think that this closed about the same time, and we thought that maybe the last time we see Spaceship Earth. No, it's still the same, but it's down constantly. And it's a little rickety. I don't know if you guys have ridden on it recently. Shannon, I don't know if you have or not, but I was doing this, and then the jib jab video doesn't work very well. I mean, it's only going down for 1 day. Is that enough to do anything valid?
Oh, I don't think so. I was just in the parks last week and I was traveling with someone who has only been to Disney World, I think, 2 or 3 times. And she's not, into the news, so she wouldn't really know that Spaceship Earth has been in disrepair. But when I asked her what her ride experience was like, because we didn't go together, she said, I got really nervous that I was going to get stuck on there because it seemed like it was having a lot of struggles. And internally, I was laughing, like, of course, that's the story that someone's going to tell. And yeah, Spaceship Earth needs a lot of TLC. Please give it the care it needs.
Well, and we thought we were going to see like a new show scene and some projections and something to fix it. Like a lot of the stuff in this version I'm sad for people who never saw the earlier versions, because a lot of it was very Pirates of the Caribbean. That you could look over here and see something, you could look over here and see something, and now
descent,
as you ride up, they're like, look over here, don't look over there, that's black, look over here. Or like, as you're doing the descent, look at the screen in front of you. There's supposed to be stuff everywhere here, but just look at the screen in front of you. And they'll show you some things that they already know about. But the video thing doesn't work as well as it used to. Even it's 2023. You should be able to like green screen out somebody a little better than that. I mean, I don't know. The whole thing's bad, and then it just feels like as you're going up, it just feels very rickety. But I may be buying in on your conspiracy theory about air conditioning, because the last time I was in there, it was very warm.
Yes.
So maybe that might be part of it. But yeah, we were promised something very amazing, and they're going to shut it down this Wednesday and then open it up on Thursday. So I'm sure we're not going to see anything new on that. But Kamila, I don't know. Is this one that you actually go? Like for me, I'm a fanboy. I'm going to go ahead and ride Spaceship Earth every time I go. But is this one that you still do, or do you pass it up?
Oh, I have to do Spaceship Earth like at least 2 times, 3 if whoever I'm with, like I can get away with it. And I'll barter if I have to. No, I love Spaceship Earth so much. And the thought of honestly it being closed for 1 to 2 years, even if it needs it, like just would break my heart. I would like them to do kind of like what I feel like they do with Carousel of Progress, which is like they make these little updates, but they just kind of do it over time, bit by bit, just to keep it going. But I do agree, it needs some help. And if nothing else, the camera needs to be better, because the most offensive thing is the picture of you that shows up at the end. I'm like, that is not me. And I know where the camera is. I tried, but like, oh, it's so bad.
Yeah. No, and that's an important piece throughout the rest of the ride, because you see it as you're going back down the hill, and then like that's all you see, and I don't even want to stare at it because it's like this part of my face is cut off, and then you get down the bottom and you see your face up on the big screen, and they show where you're from, and then they show you on another thing, and it's just like, oh man, really, you're gonna focus this much on it and you can't tweak this somehow? I feel like it's fixable, and it's not going to cost a lot of money, but I don't know. We'll see. Let's move on to Food and Wine Festival, because last week we talked a big preview of the Food and Wine Festival that comes to Epcot every year. At the end of the month, we're going to see more from the Food and Wine Festival. We've already seen some updates to like menus and things like that from what we saw last week. There's definitely going to be a Liege waffle, because why not? And then also we've seen that some of the booths are already up and have the signs on them. They're ready to go. But this is the one that I found very interesting, because I was walking by this, and this is this Traveler's Cafe that was a Starbucks. And then when they opened up Connections Cafe, they moved the Starbucks there, and they just closed this one down. And so, Shannon, I'm coming to you first on this one, because, like, first of all, I feel like you're the kind of girl that likes a nice Starbucks cup of coffee. Secondly, like, this space feels like it's been wasted space in a place that needs something, and there's been multiple food and wine and Flower and Garden and Festival of Arts that have happened where this just sits here empty. And I would wish it was either A, another Starbucks, or B, that they were using it for a booth, because it seems like, why not? Thoughts?
Well, I think when I was on ParksCenter when this closed, I said that I was so happy that it had closed, because that became such a choke point, especially being the only Starbucks in the park. And I hated having to pass through, because there is a festival booth right there across the way. And the bathrooms now are there. So it becomes very, very busy in that little walkway. So although I think it makes sense to reskin it and use the existing facility to make it another festival booth. I hope it's a less popular festival booth because I don't like the location.
Okay, that's fair enough. But here's another thing though, is that they've put like what look like permanent stanchions in, whereas even when it was a very popular Starbucks, to your point, very crowded, they didn't have permanent stanchions in there. So I don't know. Any thoughts on this, Kamila?
I mean, even if it wasn't Starbucks, just another place to get coffee, I think would be a good idea. Maybe some fun boozy coffee drinks, that never hurts and it probably is a good money maker. But yeah, I agree absolutely, especially because it's so front and center. It doesn't make sense not to use it for something. So hopefully they give us something good.
Any other thoughts about Food and Wine?
Just that I'm excited for it. I'll be there in September and again in November, in early November. And both times Epcot is a focus because I want to make my way around the world for Food and Wine. So like we talk all the time about like, is this something that you would actually book a trip for? I mean, for me, I enjoy the festivals, but this is the big one, I think. And I think it has the best food also and drinks. So.
Yeah. Same question, Ali, and tell me why Hawaii is your favorite pavilion when it comes to Food and Wine Festival.
No. Hawaii is definitely not my favorite booth. Very, very not authentic. But yeah, I'm super excited for Food and Wine. I'll be there in a couple weeks. Looked like there was a couple new menu items that looked good. And then, of course, the old staples like the beer cheese soup. I love that you can get that at the booth and not have to actually go to Le Cellier for that. And then now you guys have me thinking about iced coffee and why do they not sell iced coffee at that place? Because I will spend all the money on iced coffee. And if you put alcohol in the iced coffee, I will definitely spend all the money on that.
Exactly.
So what I'm hearing is that you are often hot when you're in Florida, and also you need alcohol to make it through your day.
I need coffee and then alcohol.
Coffee and alcohol in that order. Gotcha. Okay, fair enough.
Or together, whatever.
I want to talk about this this next because, Food and Wine Festival usually has a scavenger hunt. And then also because Food and Wine Festival falls during the Halloween time, now we've also got the Pluto's Pumpkin Pursuit. So you're going to have to look for pumpkins and probably Remy with cheese, I guess, around the parks. I'm an adult who does these. I don't know if the three of you are adults who do these. I know Allie does them because she gets paid to do them at Disneyland to cover them for WDWNT. So I may excuse you from this conversation, but Shannon, is this a thing where you and your husband go, I can't wait to go do these both? Like, I'm going to buy into both of these scavenger hunts. Or do you go, I'll just point at stuff if I see it? How does this go for you?
You know what's funny? It's one of those things that I always say I'm going to do and I never do. Like I'm almost too cheap to pay the 15 or 17 bucks or whatever it is to do it. And I know you don't need to pay, like you can just search on your own. I think it's cute. I think again, anything to be a people eater, even though this is kind of a stretch of a people eater, but it's something for people to do that doesn't put them in a a line attraction. So to each their own.
Yeah, Tara Camino and Dennis are commenting on the PPP aspect of this Pluto's Pumpkin Pursuit. Somebody got paid a lot of money, Kamila, to come up with that. Don't laugh. They got paid a lot of money. They were like, "What do you want to call this thing?" I don't know. Well, why Pluto? Like, why does he have to look for pumpkins? No idea, but I guess it's just because he started with the letter P and pumpkins start with the letter P. Do you ever do these, Kamila?
No, but I think they're cute. I feel like the weirdest thing though is like, how do people find out about these? Like we know about them because, reasons, but like, I just wonder like how many people who would do this, but they have no idea that it exists. Cause I feel like they don't do a great job of promoting these, but good to see Pluto getting some love. I kind of miss Remy. I'm not going to lie.
They're going to do that too, though. They'll do that too. They'll do them both together. They do the same thing at Easter. They do for the Flower Garden. They'll do Spike the Bee, and they'll also do the Easter egg hunt. So you've got to double down.
Even better.
And then they do one for the holidays with Chip and Dale, or at least I don't think it was Chip and Dale last year. It was Olaf last year, but in the past it's been Chip and Dale around the Festival of the Holidays. And then for the Festival of the Arts, they do Figment, like and hidden paintings and things like that. Allie, that's a good point. I feel like we as a blog probably give this thing more advertising than Disney does on their own. Like, I mean, you know when they're coming because somebody taps you on the shoulder or you already go, I think it's time for the pumpkin hunt. So, I mean, like, how do other people find out about it?
I feel like they actually do a pretty good job out here at Disneyland. Every time it comes up, everyone's like, "Oh, yay, the pumpkin or the extravaganza is here." I do agree with you guys. I don't think they do as good of a job in Florida. To your point, Rob, I do pay for them in Florida and not on Tom's money. And I enjoy doing them. So we did Remy last year. I missed the Olaf one, and I think I'm just going to miss Pluto this year. So that's kind of a bummer, but I think they're super fun. They're cute. The big pumpkin is adorable. I'm super jealous that Florida gets that, and they're fun. It's just something different to do. Yeah, look at it.
Oh,
so cute.
Although these bushes look like they need some tender loving care, but yeah, I do. That is neat that it's up there. So I mean, Shannon, I think to your point, you don't have to pay for these. You can just go look for them. No. But if you don't pay for them, you don't get these.
Yeah, I do like that. Oh, dang. I'm glad you reminded me because that's one I would pay for.
Yeah, I figured it was. I figured I could. I figured this just smacks of something that you needed sitting on that counter behind you.
More junk.
Let's talk about Run Disney, and I'll tell you why, because I normally don't. I don't run unless chased, and even then, I've got to think about it. It depends on, So when it comes to Run Disney, Allie, I know that you're like the goat on Run Disney. You go from coast to coast and don't miss any race. As a matter of fact, the Run Disney race that we're gonna have for Food and Wine Festival is sold out, and I looked on and like everything's sold out for that race, and then the marathon in January, and I know that they do a spring race which hasn't been announced yet. All they've announced is that Stitch is going to be kind of like one of the main things. They haven't announced when that goes on sale, but these things sell out pretty quickly. And I think that is it because of how cool the medals are? Is that what we're? Is that? I mean, that's a pretty cool looking medal. I assume you've signed up for this race, Allie, and you're going to get one of these, right?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am signed up for that race. I got my shirt for the race, so.
Ooh, fancy.
Yes, I will be. Got that. Kevin is actually signed up for the race. Tom talked him into it. Tom will be doing the race. 2 races because he wants a Figment medal. I think they're just popular because they're super fun. They're super friendly for, all levels of running. They do have like a mile minimum that you have to hold, but you can do the shorter races. There's entertainment. There's rare characters. The designs are good. The quality has gone down a little bit since I first started doing these, but you get shirts, there's all kinds of swag. And I mean, the light bulb lights up. How awesome is that? I'm so excited.
Okay, so on the con side of it for me, you have to get up early on what is considered your vacation.
Yes, they start at 5
a.m.
Run
in the dark, or in the case of the one in January, in the cold. So I don't know. I'm not trying to play this down because I do think this is a whole subculture that I haven't been a part of, and I am a little jealous because I did go and look at it and go, maybe I would like to be a part of this. But you run through the parks when you do this, right?
Yeah, so usually the 5K, you'll run through just Epcot. The 10K is Epcot and sometimes Hollywood Studios. Usually the half marathons, you'll do Epcot and then Magic Kingdom, and then the full marathon, you get to do all the parks.
Michael in chat says, I need a live stream of Tom running this race. No, it'll basically be him walking to the end and then getting his medal and then going away. That's probably what'll be happening.
But I love that to get the Figment one, you have to do the 2-course challenge. So he has to do the 10K and the half marathon, and you have to finish both to get Figment.
That's literally dangling the carrot right there, isn't it? Yeah. Like, oh, you want the Figment one?
Well, it came out, and he'd asked, he was like, oh, how do I sign up for a virtual race? And I kind of jokingly was like, dude, just full send it. Do the actual race. And then next thing I know, it led to Maddie and I trying to get all of us registered. We all got registered, and he talked Kevin into doing it, so now we're all doing it. So
Well, I mean, that's going to be fun. I hope that you will check back in with us and let us know. That morning, I will still be asleep while you're doing that.
I'm
So
calling you.
no, no, nope. Have the best time. I think you're going to really enjoy how that works out for you. So, but again, I normally don't talk about Run Disney stuff on here, but I felt like, A, with you being on here, I wanted to talk about it, and B, the medals look cool, and C, because it is kind of park related, it is an extra thing that you can buy into and be able to experience the park in a very different way. So someday maybe, not for these because it's already too late. But let's talk about the park that started it all. Tomorrow is Disneyland's 68th birthday. And I would say sometimes we just celebrate things on the fives. Sometimes you celebrate an unscrupulous 16. You never know what's going to happen. But for the 68th birthday, it looks like there's going to be a special cavalcade coming to Disneyland. What else do you think? What else can we expect to see out there tomorrow for Disneyland, Allie? Or any idea other than the cavalcade?
Usually there's a button, probably special characters. Maybe they have them out doing things. They usually have those little signs you can hold and take your picture with it. And then I will be there lined up for the cavalcade. Hopefully it's a little more exciting than what they had last year. That just looked like a fire truck with balloons, but we'll see.
So this is last year's cavalcade?
I didn't go last year. I think Charlie probably took those photos, but yeah, they're sending me tomorrow, so I will be there for that.
Shannon, I don't know if you feel it necessary to be at any of these parks on their anniversary. Like I was at Animal Kingdom on its 25th, but would you make a special trip? I know you've been out to Disneyland recently, a special trip for the magical 68th?
No. I was there for the 60th, and I was there for Epcot's 30th, and I want to say 35th. So I do like being there for the special anniversaries. And it's nice that they are giving Disneyland love just for any old anniversary. 68 is a pretty big deal, but I'm not rushing to get there anytime soon for the 68th.
Yeah, I know. It's one of those things that just doesn't seem quite like it's I mean, again, 68 seems weird. I don't remember ever seeing a time when I'm like, I don't know. It just, for some reason, the fives seem obvious. And we've got the 70th coming up in 2 years from tomorrow. So get ready for that. 75th, I assume, will be off the chain. Kamila, are you going to that one?
Maybe. We'll see. No, I mean, I think Disneyland is looking pretty good for 68, to be honest. And always fun to celebrate the park, but I skip out on the birthdays or anniversaries.
You know what? Honestly, I love them. At least for some reason, I feel more akin to the ones on the East Coast, and so I've been to the 25th of Animal Kingdom this year, and was at the 40th of Epcot before that, and the 50th of Disney World. I knew years in advance that I wanted to be in the Magic Kingdom on October 1st for the 50th anniversary, and I was. And there is something very kind of magical about it, but I do feel like they've kind of downgraded what they do on those special days. For the 100 years kickoff, Allie, that they did at Disneyland on the 27th of January, which again, I'm not really sure I understand why, because the actual 100 years is October 16th. Why they would do that, I don't know, but I was there. I was like, where's my souvenir guidebook? Oh, we ain't doing that. Where's my button? No, thank you. Like I'll get a poster on leaving, not unless you brought one with you. There's just really, there wasn't anything special about that day, but that was supposed to be the big celebration and the kickoff of Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. So, we'll see what happens tomorrow, and follow WDWNT.com and DisneylandNewsToday.com for all the information that Allie's out there grabbing for us. Let's talk about Figment fines, because our boy, I feel like they do him wrong too much. You guys tell me. I may be wrong. I may be being too harsh on this. This hat.
I love it.
Do you? Okay. All right. Maybe I'm
it.
being too harsh on it. Tell me how many you're going to need, and if you're going to be wearing it at your Run Disney event.
Honestly, I probably won't buy it just because I would never wear it, but I love it. I saw Alessa when she was in Tokyo with all of the hats like this that they have in Japan. There was a Baymax one. There's a bunch of really cute ones. They're fun. It's super fun, and his cute little horns, and I love it. It's great.
You know, they do specialty merchandise for, Festival of the Arts that have Figment on it, and some of the other things that, like I think there was some pass holder stuff that they did for Flower and Garden that had Figment on it. But I still feel like there's never enough Figment merch, and yet if you take a look at the gift shop that you see at the exit, there looks like there's a lot of Figment merch. But we found also these kids apparel that they have, and sometimes I feel like, that the kids apparel is cooler looking than the adult stuff. But I don't know, Kamila, are you a Figment fan? Any of the stuff that you would buy? I'm sure you're not going to try to buy that onesie, but maybe. I don't judge.
No, I like Figment. I feel like with him, like it's just hard to really capture his essence correctly, and I feel like I'm very picky. Like I feel like I would love to have a Figment plush, but the ones that they have, I'm just like, I feel like that's not him. So I don't know, and I just feel like that hat, I'm just pretending like it doesn't exist.
Oh, so you don't, so you're with me, like the hat, and you're like, it's not quite
That's it.
the thing.
Like we want more, but not that.
Yeah, exactly. I don't really know. I'm not really overly excited about that one, but Shannon, it would look great on that little table behind you, don't you think? Or I mean, maybe you wear it. I don't know.
Oh, I should have pulled my Figment I have right here. I meant to actually pull them out for the occasion, but yeah, the hat doesn't do it for, and I almost feel like this. I kind of like what Kamila is saying, where like it doesn't really capture his essence, but how can you say no to this face? There was actually 2 Sleepy Figment plushes left when I was there last week, and it took everything in me not to buy it because it's precious. But the hat can go because it's completely impractical because Florida right now is a sauna on the sun. Oh, hard flex with the shirt. Dang.
Yeah, how about that, huh? Yeah. I don't know. I love Figment. I worked the Figment attraction back when it was good, and so I really what?
Not wrong.
But I honestly, I mean, I don't like it when they go astray on what he looks like. Like obviously with Mickey Mouse, he's evolved over the years. The Mickey Mouse in the cartoons. I know that Desi was on Deep in the Plus and said #NotMyMickey because he's like, he looks so different from say Mickey Mouse Clubhouse or the one we meet in the park or any of those others or the classic Mickey Mouse Club. But I feel like Figment should be Figment. To your point about his essence, Kamila, of like there should be like that feeling of Figment. So I hope they continue on with this. Can't wait for the meet and greet, which is another thing we didn't talk about, but we don't really have any new information about that meet and greet. So it was something we were promised. Good.
Has there ever been a sipper?
No, just a popcorn bucket, to my knowledge. I don't think there's been a sipper.
Bucket? They should now a sipper. If they get it right, that could be fun. That could be very fun.
What does it look like? Does it have a straw shoved into his head? Is that?
Yeah, just like Orange Bird. Why not?
I mean,
right
that was
between
like
the wings.
Oh, like on the back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that would be so good.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what, Kamila, speak it into existence. Maybe it'll happen.
Please, Disney.
Let's talk about transportation because this is a hot button, right? Because there used to be a thing called the Magical Express, folks, that would take you from Disney. I mean, from the MCO to Disney and back, and it was part of your vacation package that would be in there. Now, I think we were all paying for it, even if you weren't using it, because of the price was built into it. But, then they took it away. And I think that was devastating to a lot of those of us who travel to Florida, because now you have to make a choice. Are you going to go with renting a car? Are you going to go with like an Uber situation? Are you going to go with, something else? And we had a couple different, I think, sponsorships with something called Sunshine Flyer. And it looks like that Mears Connect and Sunshine Flyer are merging to create new transportation. And Mears was always, I think, at the underlie of Magical Express, right? Or am I wrong? Mm-hmm. Okay. So
that was my understanding, yeah.
I'm going to start with Shannon, because you were just there. Like, how do you travel back and forth? And did you have to use Mears, or did you rent a car? What do you do?
Yeah, this will forever pain me. I do use Mears Connect, and I have to tell you, this last trip was the most depressing experience. It's funny. I'm on Mears Connect. I booked Mears Connect on the little video that they play. They're advertising SeaWorld and Universal, and yet the seat that I'm sitting on is upholstered with Disney Cruise Line logos, and I'm like, this is absolutely absurd. You know, Disney could still do this, and I would pay. Right? Like, bring back Magical Express, keep it the same rate that is Mears Connect. I have to say, like, there's never really been a blip in the service. I think the service has remained the same since when it was Magical Express to now. So I roll up. I usually don't wait very long. Sometimes they'll wait for the bus to fill up. But it's just that used to just start your vacation, get you so excited, and now it's like terrible. Terrible.
Yeah,
Like, just get
Kamila, talk to
the
me about
hotel.
it.
No, I mean, truly, I'm not being dramatic when I say when we lost the Magical Express, to me, that was the absolute darkest day. And it was one of, in my opinion, the most shocking things, like of all the changes they made in the post-COVID era, like that was devastating. And I think exactly like Shannon said, you have to understand, like, for those of us who took it, and for those of us who have to fly to get to Orlando especially, there was something about landing in MCO. And look, MCO is not a great airport, right? So you're not excited like, oh, I'm in MCO. People love the carpet, whatever, but it's a terrible airport. But you get to go down to the very bottom, and there's like that whole little section where like they're welcoming you, and it's like once you get there to that little Disney area, like you're kind of officially in the Disney bubble. And even remember the times when you didn't have to go get your own luggage because somebody would do that even for you. We've forgotten about how far we've really fallen when it comes to what the Magical Express really used to give us. But you would get on that bus, you would have the little video playing, and it always worked. It was easy. It was exciting. And don't forget the days when cast members used to like be clapping and welcome you when you arrived at your resort. Like, it was a whole experience. And now it's a nightmare. I cannot tell you, between both the Sunshine Flyer and Mears, there are so many horror stories of people not being picked up, of, even really? Just the time. Remember, Magical Express used to work 24/7 pretty much. You could come in anytime. Now, if your flight comes in after a certain time, I think it's 11 for both, I mean, you've got to find a different mode of transportation. So it's completely changed the experience. You don't have the reliability. You don't have the Disney guarantee of service. And I still think transportation it's not ideal, regardless of how you do it.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree, and everything you guys have both said is accurate. Like I can't even, like, I can't agree enough, because that idea of, like, it's part of your experience. It's part of that whole thing, is like you get off the plane and they'll get your bags and you get on and you've got the video running and you're on a Disney bus and you're excited and you're all sitting there together and headed off to the most magical place on earth. And it was part of the whole, like, great package to bring you in. The only thing I will say that I had a problem with was, because I like to take it down to the wire and leave as late as possible, as humanly possible, they'd go, oh, your flight is at 10 a.m. We'll pick you up at 5. And I'm like, no, that doesn't sound good to me. I might rent a car instead. But Michael in chat said, I think something along the lines of, Michael Sullivan said, less and less for more and more. Because again, they didn't make the price cheaper when they got rid of Magical Express and Magic Bands and all these other things. They just kept it the same and just went, you know what, we don't want to give you that anymore. And it seems like a bad idea. At least they should have added a Disney version of an add-on to that, to be able to say, look, you can still get a Magical Express, just check this box and it's X amount more and it's already taken care of for you. We'll do the whole thing, because we know they can do that. And people
they do it for
pay
Disney
for it.
Cruise Line, and it's
There
like
you go.
over $70 each way per person.
Yeah, no, and it just seems like it would make the most sense. I feel like this and the was it 180-day like reservations for meals are the two things that people still wish they could get back, that are possible. I mean, we want, like, Tables in Wonderland back. We want to get rid of park reservations. We want all kinds of things that will probably never happen. But this one seems like you should still have this offering, and they don't. Let's move on to a little segment that I like to call It came from the parks. Strange stories from Disney parks. We had some interesting things happen this week, and basically the catalyst for this for me is that a lot of weird things happen. We report them on the blog. Sometimes the headlines are so weird that I have to do a double take as to what happened, and so that I can go back and look. And so the way we play this little game is I'll present 3 stories, and we'll start with Shannon, and each of you get to pick the one that you would like to talk about the most. And you can all pick the same one if you want to, because I'm just that nice. I'm just that nice a guy. So the first one is Walt Disney World cast member claims child flipped him off and parent assaulted them at single rider line entrance. Again, there should be a limit of how much you can put into a headline. And then this one we kind of teased a little bit earlier. Squirrel crashes Walt Disney's Carousel of Progress at the Magic Kingdom. And then finally, guest gets irate during Remy's Ratatouille Adventure Breakdown, slaps iPad from cast member, and sends them to the hospital. First of all, never slap an iPad out of somebody's hands. That's just, that's just the right thing to do. Shannon, which of these 3 things is interesting enough for you to want to talk about it tonight?
I'm going to talk about the first one because I think it seems unrealistic, and I think people will probably feel like it's an untrue story. But as much as there are great, well-behaved children and families at the parks, I have witnessed, especially last week, children who are very misbehaved. There was a cast member on the Jungle Cruise who basically couldn't even do his job because the entire ride he was saying that the child needed to remain seated. And not only was the child not listening, but the parents were doing nothing to help the situation. So am I shocked that a child ran up and flipped someone off? Probably because the parent told them, yeah, go ahead, you can do the single rider line or whatever the case may be. So, as much as we want to believe that Disney is this great, happy place, like, wild things do happen, and I have definitely been witness to them.
But you've never caused them. You've never caused bad problems. I'm sure
No,
you are
I would
nothing but
never.
perfect. No,
I'm above that,
absolutely.
Rob, please.
I agree. I'm just saying it for everybody else who doesn't know you as well as I do. You know what? Again, sometimes you want the parents to intervene. My wife is an educator, and so therefore, when people aren't doing that, it tweaks her anxiety because she wants to step in. And I'm like, kind of holding her back. No, not your place. We're in the Magic Kingdom. But we were on the People Mover, and we were riding around, and the kids in the car behind us, every time it went around a corner, screamed at the top of their lungs, out of fun, but screamed at the top of their lungs. There were 2 moms and 2 kids. And they just screamed, and I was like, well, maybe that's just a lot for them to take on. And then going down the conveyor belt out of the ride was an issue. And then we went to Carousel of Progress, and they came in right after and sat right in front of us.
Oh, no.
And then the mom talked through the whole thing, and then the kids are yelling and talking and pointing, and I'm just like, really? You spend a lot of money to come here, and so did I. It would be nice if we could kind of just be nice to each other and consider it and all that. So, Allie, which one do you like?
I'll take number 3.
Okay, because you're an iPad slapper.
No, it's fascinating to me just what people are doing. I get it, you're in line, the ride broke down, you like you just said, you spent a lot of money, so has everybody else, to be there. And yes, it sucks when you are in line and you're excited to go on it and then the ride breaks down. But why are we yelling at cast members and slapping iPads out of their hand? And it sounds like the cast member was actually trying to help this guy by maybe giving him a lightning lane or a return time. So where is the disconnect here that we are now being violent about it? I do think Disney does need a little bit of a better backup plan when these rides continue to go down, guests get frustrated. So maybe just immediately emptying the queue and just giving people return times for something, so you at least feel like you're getting your money's worth. But to slap an iPad and send a cast member to the hospital because you can't go on Remy? Good Lord. What is happening? That's insane.
Allie's over here going,
not even a good ride.
She's like, Cosmic Rewind, I understand, but Remy?
Oh, for sure.
Really?
But Remy? Come on, guys.
Wow.
Justice for
Kamila.
Remy. No, to try to end on a high note. So the one I actually did want to talk about was the little squirrel, because Bless this little squirrel, because I can just imagine being in Carousel of Progress. You know, you're listening. It's such an adorable ride, but you're also like half asleep and just like, you know, enjoying being in air conditioning. And then all of a sudden, you know, I'm sure like just commotion started happening, and before you even realize it, you're like, oh, what's happening? And then you like, oh my gosh, there's a squirrel, you know, and like, I don't know. I just feel like that's the lighthearted parks news that we need from time to time, because the other things that are happening in the parks are just, it's getting scarier and scarier every time.
Yeah, and this isn't one you can blame Epcot and alcohol on, Kamila. This is one that
That's
you know
right.
that I'm surprised that Disney doesn't have more critters like popping into places. I mean, in Disneyland, it's known for the whole feral cat system that they have going on there, and they are very polite, and they don't come like, you know, slinking into Soarin' or anything. And so, I mean, I feel like you know, they do a pretty good job with keeping, you know, birds and things out of places, but sometimes it's, you know, sometimes it happens. So this one at least was adorable. So I'm glad that that happened. And thank you guys for
The
splitting
squirrel
them up
was
so
hot
evenly.
too.
Trying to get some of that budget air conditioning that they're peddling at Disney World right now, right? So let's move on to talk about Oogie Boogie Bash. We've talked about it a lot on here before, where I've said that this is one of my favorite hard ticketed events. Maybe it's just because like I went with Allie and it was fun to hang out with her at Oogie Boogie. You know, she and I, we may have talked about this too. When they went on sale for Magic Key holders, she and I were talking back and forth, trying to talk each other out of or into going to more than we should have. I didn't buy tickets to this one this year. I bought for the past 2 years. And then afterwards had that FOMO of, oh, I should have bought some for myself. And then the next day they went on sale for the general public and it broke the entire system. They came back this past week and they sold out instantly, basically. I mean, is this the fastest they've ever sold out, Allie? Or, I mean, I bet you're glad you got your 2 dates.
Yeah, that was chaotic. I mean, this time actually Magic Key holders for the win. Usually we don't get a lot of perks, so our thing actually worked out. My friend got in through the queue first. She was able to grab my opening night ticket to cover the party, and then like 20 minutes later my queue clicked over, and that's when I was like, oh, should I buy another night? So long story short, I bought another night. Rob did not. But yeah, this was crazy. So then when it opened for the general public on 2 days later, I just out of curiosity got in the queue, and I was in it all day until it broke. And then I also got in it on Tuesday right at 9 o'clock and never clicked through, never got any more tickets. So this is definitely the fastest that it's sold out in one day, I guess in theory, or 2 days, however you want to put it. But yeah, if you weren't on and didn't have luck with the queue, you were not getting in. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
we were trying to keep track on the blog so that we had an article that was like first 3 dates sold out, first 11 dates sold out. Oh, it's all gone. I mean, it really went fast. Kamila, I assume you were watching this whole thing unfold too.
I was in the queue, and if you were one of the unlucky ones that didn't get any tickets, you weren't alone. Neither did I. I didn't even necessarily have real plans of going, but I was kind of like, you know, if I do get in, yeah, I'll buy some tickets and go. I love this event. I will say it's really interesting to me because so far, when we look at the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party, only one date I think has sold out there, whereas these sold out like in one day, you know, the fastest ever. And do I think the two events are different? Yes. But they're not so different that it makes complete sense to me that, you know, Oogie Boogie is just all this demand. And then there's all this availability still for the Magic Kingdom parties. And so it's very interesting to me to think about it, having been to both a number of times. So I just will say, if there's anyone out there and you're like, you know, oh, I really wanted to go to Oogie Boogie, I'm sad, I would give the East Coast Magic Kingdom party a chance. I don't think they're so different, where you'll feel like you're really missing out on something. You're going to get the essence of the party at both.
Okay.
No
I mean,
Villains
yeah,
Grove, though. No Villains Grove.
Villains Grove and the treat trails do get me, but I absolutely get what you're saying. That I think that, you know, a Halloween party is a time at Disney for you to be able to dress up and go and hang out at the park. So yeah, I don't disagree. If you can't get into Oogie Boogie, you shouldn't, you know, discount Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. And Boo to You is still one of my favorite parades, even though Magic Happens is right there, Allie, because after you and I went and saw that, I'm like, okay, I'm bought in. And and I spent all day singing the song. So just, you're welcome. So let's move on to this thing, which I think is, to me, kind of hilarious. So Galaxy's Edge is in both the East and the West Coast Disney theme parks. And when they opened up in a very themed way. All the food was very themed and what they were calling it. And at some point, I think that there were people getting tripped up. They're like, yeah, I want the tip yip, but what is that? Oh, it's tip yip, but what is it? No, it's tip yip, but what is it really? And then finally they'd go, it's chicken. And so they had to reassign the names of it because people were a little confused and didn't speak space talk. And I kind of get that, having done the Star Cruiser, and I'm going like, what is that? And they're like, it's a this. I'm like, is it a carrot though? That's what I'm asking you. Is it a carrot? And they're like, it's a carrot. You know, like, I mean, I get like the theming of that kind of stuff.
Play along, Rob. Come on.
I do. Stop it. But what I'm saying is that this story, I was just like, really, folks, are we really having such a hard time figuring out that the thing that was in the bathroom is a hand dryer, that we have to label it hand dryer? Like, this same dryer, I think this is a Dyson, exists in every airport in the world. And you have to label it here because it's space and we don't understand what it is. There's a soap dispenser, clearly looks like a soap dispenser. There's a faucet here, clearly looks like a faucet. What did you think it was? I mean, and again, even if you accidentally brush your hands by it, it's going to turn on. So I got to ask you, Shannon, because like, I mean, is this something, am I losing my mind here? It seems kind of common sense here that we didn't have to label this.
I want to know the data of how many complaints they had to get about no way to dry their hands that they had to label this. But it's funny though, like something I enjoy doing is when I'm on an attraction, I'm in a queue, especially in like a pre-show room, thinking like Rise of the Resistance when you're in your little prisoner cell. I'm always looking at like, where's the exits? What if there was an emergency? How do I get out of here? So I think about, you know, there are real life things rules you have to abide by, but this is just really silly. This had to have come from customer complaints.
Yeah, I mean, again, you're right. It is. You assume that about everything because Disney is not going to go, you know what? We meant to label this hand dryer when we first put it in, and now, you know, now we have a problem. By the way, I'd like to call this the trifecta when you go into a bathroom and the soap dispenser, the water, and the hand dryer or the paper towels are all touchless. That's the trifecta. There's still some places, even new ones that they're building, where one of them you have to touch things. And post-COVID, I don't want to touch anything. I don't want to touch anything. I don't want to have to, especially if I've just washed my hands. So, I mean, I think that we were under the impression hand dryers were a bad idea after COVID, that they were spreading things around, but I think we've gotten over that. So I do think it's at least nice to be able to, you know where the hand dryer is in the bathroom. So thanks, Disney. Appreciate you. I hope it didn't cost you a lot of money to do that. Let's move on to this one that I'm calling Mini AI. I need to know what you guys think about this. I'm not going to say anything about it other than what it is, and I want to hear what you guys have to say about this, but I'll just introduce it by saying there's a thing that showed up, a machine that showed up called Character Clicks at All-Star, and you go in and you can pose in front of this thing, and you choose which characters you would like to have your picture taken with, and it will take your picture with these characters. I don't know if you've looked into this at all, Shannon, but I'm going to throw it to you first. Like, what are your thoughts about first seeing this?
You're asking the three people on here that do not enjoy meet and greets. I don't want to meet a character in person. I certainly don't want to stand in front of a filter. So I think it's a little ridiculous, honestly. It's a stretch.
Well, I mean, okay, yeah, you're right. Absolutely, I should know the audience I'm talking to here about this. Kamila, thoughts?
You know, one of the weirdest things about this is the fact that like it popped up in like a resort. So it's almost like, oh, I forgot to get my picture with Minnie in the parks or for real. So let me like do this real quick. And I just don't know. I mean, I have no interest in it, but I could see, I guess it's like a photo booth almost, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't like characters. I don't like taking pictures. So I'm also not the right person to ask.
All right, 2 for 2. Allie.
Okay, I'm mixed on this. On the one hand, I'm like, you're providing people with something they can do. They can take the photo with them. I mean, digitally, of course, right? So, I mean, you are offering a service. On the other hand, why not just bring the characters to the resort? You have that little van that takes the characters around. Just bring the characters to the resort. Like, even though I don't want to necessarily stand there and meet them and take a bunch of selfies with them, it's still kind of magical when you're walking out to, get on your bus to Epcot and then, oh, there's Pluto and Minnie or something. Like, you have, like, I don't know.
Let me show what this looks like to explain it a little better, because it was on the Disney Parks Instagram, and this is where I first saw it. So basically, you walk up to the machine, you tap your Magic Band or your phone to it, and then you pick the characters that you want to have your picture taken with, and then you run, and they walk into the screen, and then you have your picture taken. Right now we're having some issues with this in Hollywood, where they're afraid that people are coming in, having themselves scanned, and then they won't be able to make money later. They get paid for one day of being scanned, and then Hollywood gets to use their likeness. Did Pluto sign something that says that they can just scan him and he not get a cut of what's going on here? I don't know. But honestly, like, it's getting to the point where you could just go and stand there in the lobby of the All-Star and make it look like you've had your picture taken with these characters, because it looks pretty good, honestly. How good this has been put together. So I don't know. I guess it's a nice feature, but to your point, Allie, it would be nicer if I actually got to meet the characters when they came in. But this actually could work for all three of you, because you wouldn't actually literally have to meet them, and you'd still have a picture. So I assume all three of you would love this.
But you know what I just
To awkwardly
thought of?
stand in the lobby? No.
What, Shannon?
I knew someone who was a character handler, and they were explaining to me all the rules that they had to follow if, say, they were going from their meet and greet point to, I guess, the back room, and a family stopped to take pictures. You could certainly do that, but there are all sorts of rules on, like, where the character is standing, like can't be in front of a garbage can never autograph a newspaper. So what's to stop someone from taking some kind of outrageous picture that maybe a cast member doesn't see and then posting that on public, and someone's going to say, wow, someone let this character, and the general public isn't going to know that it's an AI character, right? So this is very bizarre to me, and I don't know how they're getting around that, unless they're controlling it, right? They're seeing all these pictures kind of like in Spaceship Earth.
Well, again, use this technology in Spaceship Earth, please. Like, make it better. Make it better. You've got this kind of technology that you put in the All-Star in this machine. And also, to the point that Kamala was talking about earlier about the scavenger hunts, like, how well are they explaining that this is, a thing that people can use? Like, are they driving people to it? I don't know. We knew that it was there. We sent a reporter out. They took some pictures of the machine. They posted it on the Disney Parks blog, or the Disney Parks Instagram account. So it's interesting. I would rather meet the character in person, because you have those interactions, and we talked about it on last week's ParksCenter. If you haven't watched it, go back and watch it, about the character interactions and the different kinds you can have. And so I really feel like there's something for everybody, and maybe this is for the people who are like, hey, I want that Instagram photo of me and Minnie and Pluto, but I don't want to actually have to go, and maybe I have some anxiety about meeting them or something. That would be interesting, but I don't think that's why they're doing it. I think they're doing it, Allie, for the point you were making of, we're not going to send them out to the All-Star. We're not going to pay for that bus to go around there. We're going to put a machine in there, and maybe that would be cheaper in the long run. I don't know. But you know what? Let's move on to Broken Potties, because I feel like it's a good transition. There were two different stories that I saw this week. One about the roof overhang from Spaceship Earth restrooms damage. I don't know how you damage that, as high up as that is. But this is over, I think, where the lockers are when you walk into Epcot. So there is this one, which is fine. It's just, they just need to fix that. This is the one that cracks me up, though, is that there was a problem. This is over, Shannon, where you were talking about that Starbucks and how crowded it is in this very new bathroom that they have. And they were trying to clean it up. But the fact that this is their go-to move to clean this up, I don't know. Does that bother
Oh
anybody
my
else?
gosh.
Right? I mean,
I didn't see
I,
that. Tell.
I don't know that's the kind of thing that would bother anybody else. But Kamila, thoughts on that? Because it doesn't look like a very magical experience to me.
It's just so close to so many festival booths. Like they usually cram a number of them right over by there, and also like places to stand and eat. And no, it's bad.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and Shannon, thoughts? I mean, I'm sure it's very exciting.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm speechless. Where are their big squeegees that they just push whatever it is into the grates?
I'm more than a little disturbed when you said whatever it is.
You don't
So,
know?
that's fine. Yeah, I don't know. We'll move on from that one though. I'm gonna go ahead and skip. There were we talked about this a little bit on Disney Entertainment News. Is that they for the Haunted Mansion movie that they were doing a D23 event and they were doing some other things because the SAG-AFTRA they were going to do a big event for the opening of Haunted Mansion at the Hyperion and bring all the actors in. And because of SAG-AFTRA, the actors are on strike and they couldn't go. So they did bring out Justin Simien, who is the director, and a couple other people. And they did have a fan event. So they did make the best of it. So you can read more about that on the site because we're running out of time. I want to talk about add-ons to add-ons. I saw this and it bothered me, and I don't know if it bothers anybody else, but when you buy a hard ticketed event, and we talked about it just now, Kamila, about Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party or the Mickey's Very Merry Christmas or Jollywood or Oogie Boogie Bash, you're paying a premium price for a hard ticketed event above and beyond. If you're an annual pass holder, you get like $10 off of your ticket, so you still have to pay for this ticket to get into the park that you're supposed to already have access to because it's a special event and the park closes early. So if you're a daytime ticket person, you may lose some hours that night. There's a lot of things like that. So it is a premium event. They're doing they're doing dessert parties for the Mickey's Not So Spooky Spectacular Dessert Party, which again, I guess I kind of get that, but I feel like the park shouldn't be so crowded on a hard ticketed event that to get a good place for, and that's usually why I do it. If I'm getting a dessert party, it's because I want to have a reserved spot for my family because my daughter's got a little bit of anxiety when it comes to large crowds, and so I want to make sure that there's a place where we can feel like we can watch the fireworks. But it feels like at a hard ticket event that shouldn't be the case. And then the other add-on, which just got added on here, is for Jollywood Nights, which is a brand new event. And it's they're offering two different add-ons for D23. One of them is a lounge access, and the other one is for Jingle Bell, Jingle Bam viewing. Kamila, should I be upset about this, or is it just I should just not? I mean, just not. I don't know.
Well, I think there are two ways to think about it. One, they're definitely just looking for ways to make even more money off of these events. And so, I think absolutely that's very clearly the case. But I also think, Disney already was doing these dessert parties every night. And so with the Halloween parties being introduced at Magic Kingdom, once they start up in August, then all of a sudden, on Halloween party days, you're not going to have Happily Ever After. But during the rest of the year, those dessert parties are every day. So I feel like it's just kind of keeping those going. And so during the Halloween parties, my real question there though is this fireworks show even good enough or worth, what you would spend to do the dessert party? And I like the dessert parties. It's actually my preferred way to do it. I like the sweets and seats in particular, but my one big critique is I wish, rather than just like a lot of sweets, I wish they did have a little bit more on like the savory, salty side. But I mean, the reality is it a money grab? Absolutely. It's Disney. This is what they do best, is they find ways to make money on money on money. And they're just doing that again. And some people, they'll go for it.
Yeah, I guess I get that because on a night like this, they won't be able to do a regular fireworks party. But the Jollywood thing feels like it's a D23, but it's just like those are the haves and the have-nots at that point. I've already spent so much money for my family to go in here, and now there's a section over here that my family isn't a part of. And if my kids are little and they're going, well, Dad, why can't I be over there? I feel for those people that are doing that. But
You're like, but I'll be inside at the dessert party looking down on them.
I'm not gonna lie, I pay for dessert parties. I'm not gonna lie, I do. And so
those people.
Dennis asked in chat, what's your favorite party? I don't know if you mean a hard ticketed event or like a dessert party type of thing, but I still stand by that. Oogie Boogie Bash has always been the one that I've just been blown away by. The very first time I saw Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, I love the Boo to You and the different fireworks and the character sightings and all that stuff. But I feel like they've started to get a little greedy about how many people they let in, which goes back to the whole idea of why should you have to reserve space on a night that should be reserved for you already. But I'm very much looking forward to Jollywood. And so I hope that is my new favorite because I'm drivable to Disney World and not, it's a little bit closer. So I would love to see Jollywood be the big event that it looks like it will be and kind of harken back to the days of the Osborne lights. So I hope that answers your question. And then let me just I'll go around here. I think that, Shannon, I'm going to pick on you one more time for being a little bougie. Would you upgrade to these experiences already, or were you going to stand your ground and go, no?
No, honestly, they don't appeal to me. I don't want, I feel forced to have to eat all that food, and I'm eating a lot of food as it is in the park, so they simply don't have the stomach space for it. So it's not worth it to me to just have a good viewing area. So I'm happy with my hard ticket event as it is. Don't need the add-on.
But for you, it's not about, is it a value or am I going to make a stand here? It's about, no, I'm not that hungry.
It's about looking down on the peasants in the hub, right?
Hello.
Pinkies up.
You know what, Allie, we talked about like the World of Color and doing, dessert parties there. And to Kamila's point about like savory versus sweet, I feel like they do a good offering at the one for World of Color because they give you a plate and they bring it to the table and it's got, it's got a mixture of cheeses and savory and sweet. So there's not something that you have to eat, Shannon, 900 small dessert cups to be able to get your money's worth. But what are your thoughts on this, Allie? Because I think there probably are less opportunities in Disneyland for this. And so when you come to Disney World, are you more apt to pay for it because you don't get to be out here so much?
No, absolutely not. I saw that come up because I'm still considering doing the opening night of the Mickey's Not So Scary. I did it a few years ago. It was okay, but I kind of feel like I might want to do it this year. Then just so I can feel better about Oogie Boogie Bash a few weeks later. But no, I saw this come out and I was like, why would I pay another $100 to have a spot for the fireworks? Like, shouldn't I already have a spot for the fireworks? And I'm spending all that money to be in there and do all the things in this set time. Like, I don't want to spend time just like standing there and eating desserts. I don't know. That's just me. I wouldn't pay for that. I'm already paying to be in there. I know Oogie has it for the parade, or I don't know if they had it. I think they had it last year.
Yeah, they did.
There was a dessert thing on the parade route, but again, I don't feel like I need that. I'd rather be a little more freedom to go do what I want.
I would argue that the ones in Disneyland are not as important as the ones in Disney World because, you and I watched the Magic Happens parade together and we basically waltzed right in and had a good spot and watched it. I feel like that at Disney World, if you want a good viewing spot for one of those things, you have to camp out with a sharp object to keep people away from you. You have to camp out early to be able to see any of those things. So you see people starting to mill about and camp out hours before the fireworks. As a matter of fact, I said this story the other day, on the 50th, when it was the first night of Enchantment, there was a woman who got in there and was in the park. The rope dropped the same time I was, but her initiative was to go and sit at the front of the castle stage and wait all day for the fireworks, just to be able to be right up there in the front. And I'm just like, that's not how I want to spend my day and my money when it comes to this stuff. So every now and then I will do a dessert party if it's something that I'm with other people. If it's me, I don't mind being in a big crowd and pushing and shoving the way we did for Wondrous Journeys. But I do think it's a little bit easier, and we don't see as many offerings. But like, say the Magic Happens dining package that they do in Disneyland, I wouldn't recommend that. that seating area it's not necessary, and so I don't really get it. And the same thing with the dessert party for Oogie Boogie Bash. Like, you can go down by the Hollywood, by the Hyperion and sit at a table and get just as good a view for free of that parade as it goes through. So I don't think it's as important out there, but I think in Florida that can almost be essential if you want to enjoy like happily ever after for the first time. I would encourage the one where, to just Shannon's point about can't eat that much sweets, is go to the one where you see the fireworks first and then go and have your treats afterwards, because not only is it an opportunity for you to get more space between dinner and this dessert party, but it's also a place for you to hide while the rest of the crowd is filtering out of the Magic Kingdom, which it's more valuable than you would think it is. So thank you guys so much for being on the panel tonight. I appreciate each and every one of you guys and what you bring to the table. I'm sorry it's not characters, but short of characters, everything else, and that's why you weren't on last week. No, but the short of characters, I think that everything else you guys, have the same passion and love of Disney, and hopefully we leave you guys with that same thing too, and just a little bit more knowledge. Next week, we'll be back with another ParksCenter at 9 p.m. Eastern. This week, again, we have Deep in the Plus on Wednesday night at 9 p.m. News Tonight, Thursday night at 9 p.m. And then Friday will be, I'm always heads or tails whether there's boxed in. So just, we had one last week. So keep tuning in to WDWNT TV. One last thing is we want to say a shout out to our WIGS members. We love our WIGS, the WDWNT Interglobe Society. Be part of the family. Go check it out. Patreon.com/WDWNT. I see a lot of you folks in chat tonight and always, and we really appreciate you so much. We have a quick post show after this where we can kind of get together and answer your questions or talk a little bit about things we missed tonight, or try to really dive in finally as to why Kamila doesn't like boats. There's a lot of things we do in the post show. Hopefully you'll be able to join the team. Again, patreon.com/WDWNT. Yes.
I just want to also say, everyone, Rob has now let us know that if you ever look up and you see someone looking down on you, that's him looking down on the rest of us peasants in the park. So, exposed.
How dare you? How dare you?
You said it, not me.
If it's just me, like I said, if it's just me, I don't mind standing in a crowd watching. I kind of love that. I kind of love that energy of everybody getting excited for a show. What I do hate, though, is you have a great place to watch a show and then somebody just bought a balloon and has it up on Main Street right in front of your view. Or as soon as the music starts for the nighttime show, everybody holds up their camera and is doing like they're all vlogging for the first time. And I really think that there should be a follower limit. If you don't have at least X amount of followers, please put your phone down.
Oh my God. These are peasant problems.
I mean,
No,
you're
but
not
it's
wrong
crazy.
On that either.
It's crazy.
Who's
like
watching it? Who's
Right.
watching it?
But you get to that point where you're like,
Anyone in there that anybody's gonna
By the
watch
way,
any of this?
David said you burned me, so thanks a lot on that. I appreciate it, Kamila, for keeping me real and keeping me honest. But I don't buy a lot of them. But if I'm taking my family and I want to make sure that they have that experience, again, like I said, my daughter has some anxiety about being in crowds, and I think that's really kind of the only way I'm going to get her to do that. When I was a little kid, my dad had the same thing, but his option was everyone is being a sucker and standing on Main Street waiting for these fireworks. Let's go ride Big Thunder. And so, I mean, however you choose to Disney is not wrong. So unless you don't go to the parks, and that we'll need to have a conversation about that on the next ParksCenter. So thank you guys again. Hopefully we'll see you guys in the post show, and next week, next Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern for ParksCenter. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for being part of the magic, and we will see you next time.
Everyone do the Rob wave.
Oh my God. Please stop.
Pinky up.
Why did I pick you guys tonight? I don't understand.
Dun, 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 dun.
I hope you're happy, Kamila. I really do.
It's just funny because, Rob, you were like,